Like, even to order my ticket at the bus stop, people would say, I don't understand. So I knew that I really need to do something about this. I needed to learn Romanian quickly. When was the last time someone's face completely lit up because you said hello in their language? What would your trip have looked like if you arrived speaking even 10 words? Have you ever missed a moment, a real one, because you were waiting for your phone to translate it? We are human. We all communicate in some other way, whether it's spoken language, sign language, just body language in general. And the way we move through a space is a form of language. So, whether we're actually making an effort to participate in the local language, to connect with the local people, or just stay in our own little bubble of expats and using the I'm a tourist as an excuse. So, language is a big, powerful tool. We know this, but I want to demonstrate how powerful that language can actually be with my own personal story. So, I lived in Moldova for 2 years. I originally taught myself Russian with the hope of being in Moldova to practice my Russian. But surprise, I was placed in a city that was mostly Romanian speaking, and I had no knowledge or experience in Romanian to begin with. My role there was to essentially teach English to a trade school for people who want to work in agriculture, and I was to become their English teacher. When I arrived, it turned out that while they had been studying English, the methodology didn't necessarily work, or they were just moved up too quickly, and many couldn't introduce themselves. So, this was my real interaction with the language barrier. I thought that many of my colleagues would speak Russian, maybe. That was not true. Many who I thought were English speakers knew no English, so I was stuck with the translation app, which was extremely frustrating because it would take a long time to go back and forth just to get basic level information about where to go shopping, where to get water, just like daily needs. And they didn't always translate it correctly, especially with a language that's not very prioritized in these language apps, such as Romanian. So I knew that I really need to do something about this. I needed to learn Romanian quickly. So I had learned languages in the past. Everyone always goes to Duolingo. It's a free option. Not my favorite. I love the app Babbel, which I'm not going to go too deep into that. Just be sure to check it out if you're curious. And while they are a paid subscription service, I have gained fluency in 2 languages with the assistance of that app. So it does make a very solid case for return on investment. But when I was there, I needed something more immersive and fast. So I ended up learning with a local company, Romanian, and doing classes 2 times a week for 3-ish hours. And then trying to accompany this with actually going out into the community and testing it and supporting it with language learning apps. So, my first 30 days, I could immediately see some impact. I could go to the store, I could greet people in the basic greetings, and then also order my coffee at the local cafe. However, if they went off script, I was kind of flustered, I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of my responses when I tried speaking it, like even to order my ticket at the bus stop, people would say, I don't understand you. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're getting somewhere with this initial 30-day exposure, but we need to go further. So I really started to go to people who maybe had a little bit of English just to practice with them, ask for how they say certain phrases or how they would respond in certain scenarios, and start implementing this into my own day to day routine. So I would even be in my apartment just looking at different objects around the kitchen or in my living room and just trying to say the names of them in Romanian out loud or in my head. So challenging myself to think a little bit differently and also quiz myself independently about how I would say something in English, in Russian, and then in Romanian. So I continued to go out and push myself into discussions with locals that I've never met, because if they said, I don't understand you, it was embarrassing, but I most likely wouldn't have to interact with them again. The real moment that was my turning point, like I did this, was when I was in my classroom teaching. My students had been acting up for a long time and being able to talk about me in Romanian. And at one point, I just had enough. And I finally said in Romanian, I know what you're saying and I don't like it, say it in English. At which point, Every student in my classroom just paused, open mouth, and stared at me. And one person finally got the courage to say, "You speak Romanian?" And I said, "Yes." And this is all in Romanian. I said, "Yes, I speak Romanian. I know what you're saying, and I learned the language in 2 months. So you know it's possible to learn English." And immediately the conversation and dynamic changed. There's a lot more respect between me and my students. They wanted to actually try to learn because they knew it was possible. Once I had the ability to speak in Romanian, a whole new world opened up for me. I was able to converse with anyone who stopped me walking on the street or into any store or cafe, which meant that I was invited to go to meals at their house. I could travel to villages that were not once open and really exposed to foreigners. And then I had more opportunities then to instruct at universities, to go to more local events in the community. It just changed my entire experience in Moldova. So you don't need to be fluent. You need to be present and show that you care. That open-mindedness leads you to new people and new opportunities. So this is all needless to say, try. Try to learn the local language. This could seem like a daunting task, especially if you've always been one to say, I can't learn languages or learning languages is not my thing. It can be if you want it to be and you find the method that works for you. Many of my most fluent English speaking students learn from playing video games and just chatting with people in English. It works. Another one of my students learned English entirely by listening to rap music. You just have to find the method that works for you. So while you go on this journey to figure out which language learning method fits to your style, here are some suggestions to get you started, even if you have a trip in the near future or don't. Wherever you're going, learn 10 words that actually matter, such as a greeting, saying thank you, excuse me, I'm trying to learn, or just acknowledging that you don't understand the language and you speak English, French, etc. Discover that method for learning fast. Try a bunch of different ways, maybe pick up Duolingo, maybe pick up Babbel, just find a method that works best for you and show up how you want to show up. It's up to you as a traveler to be conscious of how you want to show up and to carry that through. My experience in Moldova really shaped my mind and perspective on how I show up for travel and how I navigate language barriers. And it's just further proof to me that even if you just learn 10 words in that local language, your experience is going to open up into whole other side quests and experiences that were not originally on your list. So it's worth it. I would love to know, have you ever learned a few words before a trip? And did it change anything? Let me know in the comments. And especially if you have any other language learning tips or apps, please drop them in the comments. I'm always looking to share new strategies for my students. Stay tuned to our channel. There's a lot more where this came from. I want to thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share it with someone who's looking for a little more inspiration in their language learning journey. Thank you, everyone.